welcome to this week's Retro Rewind. And we're actually reviewing the 1971 Beguiled with Clint Eastwood. Now, some don't call it a horror movie, but, it has some horror essence, especially the sexual tension area of it, where let's just put this boarding school, there's a lot of sexual tension going on. And I mean a lot. I mean a lot of sexual attention. It's permeating from the walls. Anyway, so you got to figure it. This is at the time of the Civil War, the Confederates and the Union are fighting. Clint Eastwood is a Union soldier, and he gets injured. He is found by a 12-year-old girl in her youth, and she is able to help him up somehow with a branch. And as they get cornered into this one area, this is where things some people nowadays are going to be like, ugh, what is he doing? Well, think about these things first. Well, let me just jump into, so he's hurt. He's with the girl. All of a sudden, there is a group of Confederate soldiers running at them. They try to stay hidden. And he asks her, how old are you? And she says, 4. He goes, young enough for a kiss. So as the soldiers are driving by, he kisses her. And as they pass by, he stops to be kissed. And we're like, oh, what a pedophile. No, he's no pedo. No, I don't think it was a pedo type thing. Although this whole movie is, boy, you got to remember the time. All the soldiers are off trying to kill each other and do their thing. And there's no men around, so there's a lot of sexual tension. So I think in that instance, what happened there, just to understand, is that so he didn't want the little girl to get scared, and that was his only way of being able to keep her calm as the Confederate soldiers rode by on their horses. As she helps him across the way to where the boarding school is, they get to the gate, things are happening, and then he falls down. They pick him up, bring him to the house. They're talking about possibly reporting him and turning him into the Confederacy. And they a couple of them are like back and forth, not sure whether they should or they shouldn't. And so that dichotomy goes on for a little bit. And that's where things start to get. So they get him inside the house. Miss Martha is with the maid, and the maid's like, it's okay to take his pants off. Remember, he's just like your brother. And then she looks at the painting at the wall. It's her and her brother. And then a flashback. Oh yeah. They were too chummy on the bed. Just a tad chummy. So we have a level of incest going on here, it looks like. And so she reflects back, and then they come back to Clint Eastwood laying there. And she's like, I'm not sure what I should do. So the weirdness continues. Now that, because of what's going on, and this is an all-girls boarding school, she tries to protect these girls from, the cadre mix of soldiers that tend to come by. so that they're not defiled. They have a whole alarm system set up in the house, so when they hit the alarm, the girl has a shift schedule. They're all watching on top of the roof to make sure that they know what's coming. Again, just to kind of keep things semi-safe, as you would think. However, the alarm goes off. There's some Confederate soldiers come in a wagon. She puts on her nice Southern hat, walks to the gate, talks to the one general, looks at all the beleaguered men, some Confederate soldiers that are hurt, other soldiers that are Union soldiers that they're going to take and, well, basically shoot. So rather than doing it there in the field, they're going to take them somewhere else and prolong their life, just to make them probably suffer a little bit more as things progress. There's a moment as the girls are in the tree, they're like, yeah, she's going to tell him about Clint Eastwood. She's about to. You can see it in her face. And she even walks up to the horse to point back at the house, and then she has a second thought, says that she wishes them well. Mm-hmm. Something amiss. There's something amiss. So as things progress, Miss Mary has one thing that she needs to do before doing anything else after the Confederate soldiers leave. Because I think it's the captain, tells her that she should put down the sign, which kind of sends a huge giant neon sign light of anyone passing by that hey, this is a girls' school, we're here. Yeah. So her, and I think she's more of a teacher and someone that kind of helps in the school. Her name's Edwina. Her name's always been weird. Anyway, so she kind of promises that if Miss Mary passes away, that the school's going to go to her because she's been such a great help. At the same time, while inside the house, you have Clint talking to the maid saying, we're both prisoners. Maybe we should become friends. And the maid's like, well, I don't think we're going to become friends because one of us can run and one of us can't. So he's trying to work the maid at this point because he knows, what territory he's in Confederacy territory. So things are kind of upended here. So he's trying to kind of make some inroads with someone to help protect his hide somehow. So as things progress, you've got Miss Mary. She and her infinite wisdom. I'm stealing it from someone else that reviews movies because I just love it. He's okay. Adam does. I like that. She goes ahead as Clint is still trying to make inroads with the maid. And so that doesn't go very well. Meanwhile, Mary's outside the window, closing the shutters and locking it down and making it pretty much like a jail cell to make sure that he doesn't leave. She explained to the one woman, the maid, that why she didn't turn him in is because at this point where he is in health-wise, that he wouldn't last very long, and that she wants to make him, get him better and stuff before she turns him in. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't think so. Anyway, so as that's happening at night, we flash to the same room. We've got Edwina pouring and bringing his fever down with water to his chest, just caressing through. Meanwhile, The other girl, which Edwina calls a hussy, was saying that maybe she could probably give him a sponge bath or something to that effect. As her inner monologue is talking about how it would be nice to explore her carnal knowledge. We'll leave it at that, because I'm not going to spoil this whole movie for you. It's not going to happen. I'm just getting you so wound up to the point that you're going to be like, I'm going to have to freaking watch this damn movie. I'm just going to have to watch it. He left me high and dry. Oh, yeah, I'm not done yet. Wait, hold on. Yeah, hold on. So, one of the other things, too, that I want to make note is, after all the in-between conversation between the two, Edwina and everything having, she slaps her, calls her hussy. I knew that you was a hussy when you came to the school, and da-da-da-da. So, we're at this point where we're seeing all kinds of sexual tension verbal up, from the maid to Edwina to Miss Mary, who runs the school. So, yeah, it's getting to be. And at the point, if you watch the movie, look at Clint Eastwood is not asleep. He sees what's going on. So he knows that his manly man is causing strife within the group of girls, which means that he could possibly use this to get himself free. Because you have to remember that at this point, he cannot hardly walk, and he's in prison, and he doesn't know what they're going to do with him, and there's a lot of people, and he's only one person. That's the key thing. So, I keep mistakenly saying Mary. It's Miss Martha. I have the one that runs the school. Flash to next morning, and everyone is, well, Edwina and Miss Martha, they're all dressed up. They're like, and Miss Martha's like, huh, must be the soldier making us dress a little bit better. It is his presence. Yeah. Okay. So Edwina takes food up to Clint Eastwood, and they flash to Clint Eastwood listening at the door. He can hear that someone's coming, and he's already able to kind of hop skip on his one leg, so he's not as bad as the girls think. He's hurt. Okay, mind you, he's not going to be running any 100-yard dashes or anything anytime soon at this point. So he's with Edwina, and she's feeding him food. And of course, anyone in their right mind is going to be enjoying this, because who doesn't like being fed eggs? Anyway, so as he's doing that, he's getting intel. He's finding out who the person that runs the school. And she's like, Miss Martha. And Miss Martha, and she's like, it's the one in the painting. And Clint's like, who's the guy in the painting? And it says, it's her brother. Yeah, the painting says a lot, because you have a hierarchical type thing. The guy standing, she's sitting. So it's more than a brother-sister type thing. Even for at this time, this painting's a little weird. Just a little weird. Anyway, it's normal. It looks normal, but it's weird. It's the incest thing. It's once you find that, it's like, it makes the whole. Anyway, Edwina feeds him the eggs, and they're kind of, Clint Eastwood's being very cordial to her and very nice to her, asking and finding out that it's all girls there. And he's like, and it's Providence that he was sent there to be protected. And she said it wasn't up to her whether or not that he would be going to one of the Confederate jails. So she leaves, and then she walks out, locks the door. Remember, the door's locked. Okay. She looks in the mirror and she crimps herself because she's feeling something. And the 12-year-old girl, hiding behind the one pillar, she pops out, goes into the room, and gives Clint a kiss on the cheek. And he says, well, why don't you sit down and stay a while and talk? She runs to the door and closes as she's about to close the door, says, I can't because this room, you're off limits. And then she says she's going to tell, well, I forget the name of the turtle, but it's her turtle. And Clint thinks it's a guy or someone like that she's telling this person about. It's her turtle. She takes care of it. She likes to mend animals and things like that. That's what she does. It's kind of, I would probably think that amongst candles and not much other things to do when the Civil War is happening, especially for women that have to be hiding all the time so that they aren't defiled. Those types of things are kind of very present in regards to what the issues are. So we have multitude of different girls, different ages, all blooming, and he's the only man around. So the sexual tension starts to build. And then the jealousy hits. Can you tell I'm not going to finish this movie? I'm finishing it. A lot happens. And things just don't go the way you would think at the end. And that's all I'm going to say. Because you have to watch the movie. The movie's called The Beguiled, with Clint Eastwood and a host of other actresses and actors that I'm sure some that you'll actually recognize, especially the little girl. So check it out and enjoy it. I think that you will, because you'll see that there's a prison and there's a level of horror here because of if he steps wrong, he could be dead. I really, seriously, it's a pitfall situation that he's walking on eggshells. If he does one thing wrong, he could be dead. He could be turned over to the Confederacy. He can't leave. He's injured. There's a lot of things going on here. So it's definitely a movie that I think that there is a level of horror to it. But it's more of a psychological horror, in some regards, for some. You have the girls, you have the women. They're all wondering, what's going to happen to them. They have someone that's treating them nice. There's a lot of different levels here in this movie. There was a different version of this movie done, and I get sick of, and you'll see why I kind of go back to the original movies, because when you go look at the newer Beguiled, which was 2017, okay, you'll be surprised at who's in the movie. You have Kirsten Dunst, Nicole Kidman, Ella Fanning, Emma Howard, and Jory Rice, Oena Lawrence, and a host of other actresses. But the problem is that you make a period piece, especially for one that's the Civil War and Confederacy. People don't have a lot of money, and so they can't really afford the necessities, and so they have to get hand-me-downs. All of these things that are realistic reality. The newer version that they did in 2017 is not like the 1971 version in that regard. And I think that's why it was a big turnoff. You have some great actresses, so it's not the actresses, but it's a matter of the perspective of time and the setting and the things that were set up in the original that were more realistic than what this other version is. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I would say, check out Beguiled. Like I said, it's a psychological horror. I also call it a sexual tension horror in many regards because, well, you got to watch the movie. I'm not going to tell you anything more. We're actually going to show the trailer, and then I'm going to show my version of the trailer as well. And I hope you enjoy. So here we go.
Oh my God!
A refuge or a hell, as Clint Eastwood, wounded Yankee, is brought to an all-girls school to become the prisoner of these man-eager girls.
You must be tired. Wouldn't you like a chance to go to your closet? I might sponge parts of him. You wouldn't.
You are not our guest. If you get any ideas of trying to amuse yourself with any of the ladies in this house,
wait
you'll
just a
find
minute.
yourself out on that road so fast you won't know what happened to you.
Consider the possibilities. Is he a helpless victim to be threatened, teased, enticed, loved at their will and pleasure?
What do you want?
I love you.
Or is he a man, aggressive, wooing, demanding, who must love to stay alive?
I want to take your brother's place, but I must warn you, it won't always be easy to act like a brother.
Hold it, Yank! Clint Eastwood, man, the symbol, the sexual enemy.
I'm gonna have the run of this place. One is that I'm gonna be with any young lady that desires my company.
Geraldine Page, possessive, vindictive.
Just because I didn't go to your bed.
Elizabeth Hartman, her passion latent and violent.
You lying, filthy lecher! I hope you're dead!
The tensions, the jealousies, the conflicts of sexual confrontations, rare even for today.
And now introducing my version, which is the version for 2026. Alternate version, maybe an alternate reality. You decide.
Oh my God!
A refuge or a hell, as Clint Eastwood, wounded Yankee, is brought to
How
an
can we help you
all-girls
be more
school to
comfortable?
become the prisoner of these man.
Thank you.
These
I am just so
man-eager
tired.
girls.
You must be tired. Wouldn't you like a chance to go to your closet? I might
Can we
sponge
bath you
parts of
tonight
him.
while
You
we
wouldn't.
admire your male physique?
I would like that very much.
You are not our guest. If you get any ideas of trying to amuse yourself with any of the ladies in this house,
wait
you'll
just a
find
minute.
yourself out on that road so fast you won't know what happened to you.
Consider the possibilities. Is he a helpless victim to
Is
be
there
threatened,
anything I can do for you?
teased, enticed, loved at their will and pleasure?
What do you want?
I love you.
Or is he a man, aggressive, wooing, demanding, who must love to stay alive?
I want to take your brother's place.
This war has taken a lot
but
from
I must
us.
warn you,
I'm just trying to
it
find
won't
my
always
way.
be easy to act like a brother.
So what can you teach us that we may not already know?
Hold it, Yank! Clint Eastwood, man, the symbol, the sexual enemy.
So if I give myself to you, will you marry all of
I'm
us?
going to be with any young lady that desires my company.
Geraldine Page, possessive, vindictive.
Just because I didn't go to your bed.
Elizabeth Hartman, her passion latent and violent.
You lying, filthy lecher! I hope you're dead!
The tensions, the jealousies, the conflicts of sexual confrontations, rare even for today.
I hope you liked the original trailer and my new version of the trailer, because I think that it needed to be a little bit modernized in some way, shape, or form. Start me. So check it out. Watch the movie. You can right now it's not free anywhere. I'll just be honest. I was trying to find it free to watch on like the streaming services. You can find it to pay for it like $2.99, $3.99. It ain't that expensive. But watch the original one because, you know, just a couple other things to add. They always gave Clint Eastwood a hard time when he first started acting like that, you know, that he couldn't act. That's BS. I think that he just had a different type of charm, and the way that he acted was different than what some of the actors and how they acted at the time. He was different. And you can see that even to this day in some of the different movies that he's done. He would not have had such a extraordinary career if he couldn't act. And that's where I digress. But this is the actual retro rewind movie for this week. I hope you enjoyed the review. Again, I'm not going to spoil it. No. I gave you a little play-by-play, but that's about it. So go, watch the movie. And in the comments down below, let us know what you thought of it. You know, if you hated it, all right, I can understand that. But go watch it. Go enjoy it. You know, put yourself in their shoes at that time. Don't think about today. Think about then. Think about what was transpiring. What the horrors were that they had that might have been outside the gate. Because here's one other thing to think about. Is that those girls that were in that school were also in their own prisons at some point. Because they could not go out. They couldn't go to town. They couldn't do anything. They were there. They were stuck there. They were there during the war. And that was their world. No one else was coming or going. So this is, you know, like I said, there's a lot of dimensions to this, different layers. So take a look at the movie and let us know. And this is the Horrors Podcast, signing off for this week.
So one other note. Digging deeper into this movie, everyone is essentially using everyone else for some odd gain, either to get them out of the situation that they're in, possibly get them away from harm, to maybe a life that's better than what they have, to many different situations. So when you watch this movie, dig deep. There's a lot to this movie. It may look like that there's not, but there is. So the key thing here is to remember that everyone is using everyone else for some odd reason or personal gain, or to help them out of the situation, or something to that effect. So everyone is using everyone else in some way, shape, or form. Just an addendum, but something I wanted to make note of that I think that when watching the movie, need to look at. And with that,